Hey YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football. And week 14 of the NFL season is here, which means it's the last week of most fantasy, really regular season, and then you're jumping into the playoffs. So let's jump into our start and sit video for the quarterback position. So week 14 of the NFL season is here. We've got a great slate of games. There are 4 teams on a bye, though, so you got to consider that. You've got, as far as quarterbacks not playing, you don't have the 49ers this week. You don't have the Panthers, the Patriots, or the Giants. So no Drake May, no Brock Purdy, no Bryce Young, no Jackson Dart. So there's some decent quarterbacks that will not be here this week. So hopefully you guys checked out my waiver wire video or you had a quarterback ready for this week. Now, these are your obvious starts at the quarterback position. Pretty simple. I've got a small list here because these guys either have great matchups or if they've just been matchup proof in general, and I trust them this week. Now, as far as the first quarterback I really love this week is going to actually be Jared Goff versus the Cowboys for Thursday night. This is a must win for both teams if they want to have any type of playoff chances. Yes, the Cowboys defense has improved. They have done better. But with that said, even in the last, 6 weeks or so, the Cowboys are still allowing a decent amount of points to the quarterback position, second most to be exact. They're allowing 23 fantasy points per game, about 240 passing yards, and 2 passing touchdowns per game. This is a great matchup for Jared Goff. Now, with that said, there may not be an Amon-Ra St. Brown. They will obviously have to ride with Jameson Williams. Tesla is one of those guys. And then, of course, they're without Sam Laporta still. So this is going to be a heavy Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery type of game, but I do believe that Jared Goff will have a touchdown or 2 and probably about 230 passing yards, if not more, because if they're going to have a chance, I think it's going to be a nice little shootout. Jared Goff's going to have a nice game, and Dallas has been giving it up. Goff obviously has had some struggles, right? He has not been playing to top tier. He's right now QB 11 going into this week, but he did have a 20-point performance last week, over 250 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, very clean game, and I think that's very similar to what he's going to have this week. So I really like Jared Goff. Another quarterback I really like is going to be Daniel Jones versus the Jaguars. Jaguars are giving up 18 fantasy points per game, 2 passing touchdowns per game as well. Now, the Colts have obviously been really relying on Jonathan Taylor all season, but Daniel Jones has still had a pretty good season, right? He's averaging 18 fantasy points a game. Now, he had a really good stretch between week 6 and week 8. He's kind of fizzled a little bit. He's getting about 15 to 16 points per game, but he's still playing really, really well. He went off over 200 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns against a really tough Texans defense. So you got to give him credit there. Daniel Jones has done a really good job, and this is a really good matchup. Both teams are playing for the division at this point. So it's a really good game. I really like Daniel Jones. Now, this one's going to be kind of shocking, but I got Lamar Jackson. I know he's usually my obvious, but let's be honest. He has not been obvious. Lamar Jackson has been struggling this season since he's come back from injury. And with that said, I do like this matchup against the Steelers. I think this is going to be his returning game, because he had 4 points against Cleveland, 7 points against the Jets, 6 points against the Bengals. And the Jets and Bengals are 2 teams that you really thought he had some success. He hasn't thrown a touchdown since week 10. He hasn't had a rushing touchdown since week 1, which is not normal for him. With that said, though, I still think this is going to be the matchup for him to turn it around. This is the game that I do believe Lamar is going to be Lamar. I don't know what it is about this matchup. I just feel it. 1, being that they're fighting for the division. 2, Steelers are giving up 17 points a game and about 250 passing yards. So I do like this one as far as a matchup go. And the last quarterback I'm going to mention here is going to be, look, Sam Darnold, I believe in you. Please turn it around against the Falcons. The Falcons are allowing about 17 points per game, 240 passing yards, and about a touchdown per game. Sam Darnold has not been playing very, very well. Let's be very honest with how his performance has been. He has been top tier at the beginning of the season, and then since week 10, 4-point performance, a 4-point performance, a 17, but then another 3-point performance. He has been playing horrific. His interceptions are out of control. He didn't throw any the last 2 weeks, which is great news. But against the Vikings defense, I get it. They were up big. He should have had a better performance. I do think this is going to be the game for him. I think the Falcons are a team that is going to allow enough passing yards and passing touchdowns for him to have some success. He's not an obvious start, but he's not someone I'm going to sit. I like Sam Darnold. I think he can finish up as a QB 12 to 10 range. I think that's where he's going to be at. He's going to get you 16 to 17 points, which is enough for you to have some success this week. So again, I do trust Sam Darnold this week. I know he has not been playing well, but I do like him. Now, as far as the sits, I have Joe Burrow. I know he came out strong last week after his injury, but going against the Bills actually is a really tough matchup. The Bills are the best team against quarterbacks right now, holding them to 184 passing yards, not allowing a lot of touchdowns as well, and they're only allowing 9 points per game. This is a tough matchup, and this is a game, again, I know the Bengals need it, the Bills need it. This is a game that both teams still need. There's a lot of playoff implications going on right now in Week 14, which is what makes this exciting towards the last month of the NFL season. But again, I don't like this matchup for Joe Burrow. If you have to start him, I get it, because maybe you don't have other options with bye weeks and injuries and stuff like that, but I'm going to stay away from Joe Burrow if I possibly can. Another quarterback I don't trust this week is going to be Jalen Hurts versus the Chargers. I understand Jalen Hurts right now is QB4 coming into this week, but I also understand that there are some games he's going to have some struggles, right? He put up 16 points against Chicago, which isn't bad, but then he had a 12-point performance against Green Bay, a 14-point performance against Detroit. Yes, he had a 30-point performance against Dallas, but again, Dallas does give up points, so I'm not overly excited about that one, and that's because of his 2 rushing touchdowns. I do think he gets a rushing touchdown in this game. I think that salvages him a little bit. But other than that, you got to give credit to the defense. The Chargers are the second best team against quarterbacks, allowing the league lowest 180 passing yards per game. And they aren't allowing a lot of touchdowns. I do think, like I said, he's going to have 1 rushing touchdown to get a little bit of some resemblance of performance. But I don't trust Jalen Hurts. This is a must-win for Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, because they've got to maintain to try to get that division, because it is getting closer between them and Dallas. Now, another quarterback I don't trust is Baker Mayfield. He has been struggling a lot lately. He has started off really strong, and a lot of that has to do with the injuries at the wide receiver position. Chris Godwin did play last week, still expected to play this week. Igbuka's kind of come back to earth, right? The rookie is obviously still phenomenal, but he has come back to earth. And then obviously they haven't had Mike Evans, and there's a chance he could possibly play. We're waiting for the injury designation, but he has struggled, right? He had 14 points against Arizona. He had 3 points against the Rams before that. He's had a couple 11 points and 4 points, and he's had some good games in between, but nothing really super, super strong. He's also turning over the ball way more than he would like to see. And the Saints are actually a pretty good defense. They're allowing only 11 points per game, 190 passing yards. They do allow 1 passing touchdown. This is a divisional game, which means there's a chance that obviously it could be the lowest point total. It might be a 10 to 7 type of game, or it could be a game maybe they put 17 to 20 points. Just because they know each other really well. But for me, it's hard to trust Baker Mayfield at this point, because I think the matchup is going to be tough. And I do think with all the injuries at the wide receiver position, it's going to hurt and affect him. They do have Bucky Irving back, which is great news. And I do think they're going to utilize the running back, all 3 of them, just to keep this game in close, because they still have to win, right? The division has still not been taken over. Especially when now they've really got to try to keep up and stay along with the Panthers. Now, the last quarterback I'm going to say is Jacoby Brissett. I have talked highly of Jacoby Brissett since he's been getting the opportunity. He's been putting up some crazy points. Right now, coming into this week, Brissett's quarterback 21, but if you look at the last few weeks, he's been phenomenal. I mean, since week 6, he's been averaging about 19 points per game, which is phenomenal. Could he absolutely do it this week? Absolutely. I would not be surprised if he did, but the matchup is actually pretty tough for him going against the Rams. The Rams have actually played really well against quarterbacks. They're only allowing 13 points per game, 217 passing yards. They do allow a touchdown, but they also create turnovers as well, which is where I think there might be an opportunity for the Rams to have some success, and then, of course, Brissett to have some struggle. And I do think they're going to take a beat down of these Cardinals, especially after losing against the Carolina Panthers, which I think they overlooked. Got to give credit to Carolina. They did a great job, obviously keeping that game close, but I do think Jacoby Brissett has a little bit of a struggle, and I think he gets you 15 to 16, and that's kind of the borderline there. Now, as far as some sleepers, I really love Shadir Sanders this week against the Titans. Crazy, I know, but if you're really desperate, maybe you're in a deep league, maybe you want to have some fun, maybe you're out of the playoffs, you want to start somebody different, hey, Sanders, I think, is going to have an opportunity to have some success. The Titans are allowing 19 points per game, 239 yards passing, and about 2 touchdowns. So I think this is going to be a nice little fun game for Sanders. I think this is a game that they have some success. I think this is a game the Browns win. And again, I love this matchup between Shadir versus Cam Ward. I don't think Cam Ward should have been the quarterback coming off the board at 1. I get why they did it. He obviously did come out of college. He still looked good. I do think he's a little bit of a better passer than Shadir Sanders, but I don't think they're that much of a gap. So for me, I think this is going to be a nice little fun matchup between the two rookies of who really should have gone where. It's all debatable. Who cares at this point? But I do think Shadir Sanders is a nice little play. And then I got CJ Stroud. Look, CJ Stroud obviously has not been playing phenomenal like his rookie season. He's had a couple slumps, but I do like the receiving core they just got. I do like the tight end. They're getting better with the running game with Woody Marks and obviously sprinkling in Nick Chubb. And I think this is a really fun game. I think the Texans defense is just good enough to keep this Chiefs team in check and allows opportunities for CJ Stroud to have some success. So I do like him as a nice little sleeper. So those are my start, sits, and sleepers for week 14 of the NFL season. If you do have questions, hit me up in the comments down below. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit that like button as well. Check out all my other start and sit videos, and I'll see you guys next time.